Hey guys, what's up? It's Zephyros from Kalthazot again, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the new raid, ToS. I had a chance to go through it yesterday, did a full clear. As you can see, Argus here in the background on my screen. You get to see this if you clear it on normal or heroic. Once you kill Jaden, you'll have a cinematic with Kill Jaden, and then once you get ported back to Azuna, you'll be able to look up and be able to see this pretty much anywhere in the world outside of like instance zones like Outland and Draenor type places like that. Um, you can go to like Stormwind and see it, which is really cool. Westfall, any of those places like that. You'll look up and see Argus just looming there, and I thought it was pretty cool to be able to look up and see where we're going to be going. Um, to push the fight for onto the Legion and all that. It was very nice. It was a pretty good touch. I wasn't expecting it, but really nice on Blizzard's part to add this in. Um, Overall, Tomb of Sargeras was a very awesome raid. I thought it was right on par with Nighthold, if not better, and I really enjoyed it. The look of it was awesome when you first start out. It's very reminiscent of Black Temple, I thought. Um, as you work your way through it and down to the core where the Fallen Avatar is being held, it starts to feel, it looks pretty much just like Ulduar, like in Nimram's room. Everything looks really mechanical. It's really good raid. Um, as for the bosses, start top, Goroth, first boss. It's really easy boss. Pretty much didn't do that much. Not too many abilities. Um, just make sure the tanks keep him faced away from the raid. Um, he targets ranged and healers with these spikes that shoot out of the ground. If you're one of those type players, just make sure you move out when the little circles get put under your feet. Uh, he'll target a random person, ranged or uh, healer, with um, with a ball that shoots out this big flaming green ball. And if you're the person that gets targeted, just make sure you go and stand behind a few of the pillars. That way, when the ball rolls through, it decreases the amount of damage that it does to you once it does finally make its way to you. Um, so just make sure you're ranged and your healers um, don't get too far away from the boss, because the boss does do an ability. Um, I can't remember the name of it. I think we only had one or two of them. Um, it's just a raid wide, like big burst ability. And if you have DBM or big wigs, or something like that, it'll actually tell you to go stand behind the pillars. So you just move behind the pillar, let the ability go off, and then you just go back to the fight as normal. Really easy boss. Really good opener boss though, I thought. Demonic Inquisition. I don't know how you say that. Anyway, um, Atrigan and Belak. This was another really easy boss. Really interesting fight. This guy right here, um, get a torment bar when the fight starts, and as the fight goes on, and you get hit with abilities and stuff like that, your torment bar will fill up. Once it's full, there's an extra action button you click, and when you click it, you actually go into this cage that's on his back, and there's a mob in there, and you just hit that mob, and he will spawn out these um, little orbs on the ground, and you pick up the orbs, and that'll clear your torment. Once your torment's cleared, you get another extraction button, you click it, and you go back out and proceed with the fight as normal. Um, each of these bosses have an ability that you don't want to be attacking them when they're doing it. Um, Belak, he starts pulsing this green bullshit from underneath him, and that's pretty much your cue to get off of him and switch to the other guy. Um, Atrigan, he does a whirlwind attack like a warrior. When he does that, just make sure your tank is kiting him away from people, and you just stop hitting him. You don't want to be around him when that whirlwind's going out. It does do a pretty significant amount of damage if you start getting hit by it, so just be aware of that. That's pretty much the fight. Argentine, big Naga guy. Another really easy boss. We really didn't have any trouble with any of the bosses until like the last three. So if you're going in there with your guild, really shouldn't have problems until later on. The last three, four bosses. Um, this guy summons Murlocs. Just have your whatever tank isn't tanking the boss at the time, pick up the Murlocs and AoE them down. Very simple. Um, he spawns these little green patches of goo on the ground, and they like slowly creep towards him, and then at like one point he grips them into him, it seemed. um, I don't really know. um, we had really good DPS in our group, so the fights didn't last too long, these first 5-6 bosses. um, just make sure you're not standing in any of the green stuff. If you do happen to take a stack or two, it's fine. Just don't want to start getting 5-6 stacks standing in it. I was a Death Knight, so I could just anti-magic shell, and get my stacks off if that was to happen. But if you have any ability, like AMS, you can use that if you start getting stacks. Sisters of the Moon. That was a pretty little interesting fight. You fight them in a round room, and the floor is pretty much a moon, and it goes from light to dark, pretty much like an eclipse. Um, and whatever side you're standing on, if you're standing in the darkness, you get a debuff. If you're standing in the light, you get another debuff, and you just have to make sure you keep switching to clear your stacks. So that's fairly simple. The only other ability I really noticed that was going on was one of these guys, um, and the Moon Talon. When the Moon Talon comes out, everybody switches to this ad, and you just nuke it down as fast as possible. Pretty simple. DBM will tell you to switch. There's another ability where one of these will target with like a charge ability, and you'll see like a red arrow where it's going to charge. So just make sure you're not standing in that, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty much about clearing your stacks and doing that, and should be fine. Mistress Sazine, I don't know how you say her name. Naga bitch. Pretty simple little fight. I don't remember if she was summoning ads, and when the ads died, they created these little purple circles on the ground, or people were just getting targeted and leaving the purple circles. I don't really know. I don't really remember. But either way, once those purple circles are on the ground, you want to make sure that you're standing kind of near one. And she does these tornadoes, these spiraling tornadoes. Um, when the tornadoes pass over the purple stuff that's on the ground, they vanish. So just make sure you're in a good spot when the tornadoes come out, and just don't get hit. She does do another like a tsunami type ability, where it covers a decent portion of the room. Just make sure you get out of that. I don't think I ever got hit by it, so I don't really know how much damage it would do. But like I said, we were only on normal, so I don't know if it would one-shot you or not. I'm fairly confident it probably would on heroic or mythic, so just don't stand in it. The Desolate Host. This is when the raid started getting a little bit more difficult. There's like a shadow realm that people have to go into and deal with ads, and this Soul Queen, but she's pretty much just a target dummy from what I hear. I never actually went down into the Shadow Realm. I stayed up in the regular realm where you start, because I was Frost Death Knight and doing my breath and stuff, and didn't really want to break off from that to go down there, and other people were already doing it. So I think it was like at 30% health. This Desolate Host will come out, just the green Morrow Garb, reskin. And 2 people will start getting targeted. I think it's 2 people anyway. I never got targeted by it, but we just put a marker up in the middle of the room, because one person would get targeted in the Shadow Realm and one person would get targeted in the regular realm, and they have to go and stand together. So just put a marker up and tell those people to go stand there. Middle of the room seemed to work pretty good. Can't not know where that is. So once, and then we just burned this guy down and finished it off. Wasn't too difficult. I think it took us 2 or 3 tries to do this boss. Um, the Maiden of Vigilance. This one's going to be the one that wipes a lot of pugs, probably, if you're having to go with a pug group. Um, I guess just be patient and make sure that they are kicking people out if they're not learning what to do, because it's actually not that difficult to pick up on. Um, when the fight starts, you want to pretty much split your raid, um, and people, she does an infusion, and some people will get a fel infusion, and some people will get a light infusion, and it's pretty much like Thaddeus with the negative positive. If you did that fight back in the day, um, where all the fel people and all the light people have to be on the same side and be grouped up. Um, and then she does 2 hammer abilities. Have to tank swap for that and be stacked up. The Hammer of Creation and Hammer of something else. I don't remember what the other one was called. Um, but each one does like 39 million damage, and that's split between everyone that gets hit by it. And it's just like a frontal cone ability. So just make sure you're in the right spot and that you're helping soak that when it goes out. And then she'll like warp to the other side of the room, and there's a big hole in the middle of the room. Um, she'll warp to the other side and start shooting out these balls, green balls and light balls. And depending on what you're infused with at the time, just pick up your color. If you're fel infused, pick up the green ones. If you're light infused, pick up the light ones, and you get a damage increase for picking up the right one. Just make sure you don't pick up the wrong orb, and you'll be fine for that. Just get back to the boss. Get over to the other side as fast as you can. Um, that's pretty much where we popped Lust. Once everybody was back in position, and everyone had that increase in damage, and you can get a really nice burn on her right there. The other ability that she did do, she will mark certain or random players with a bomb. You'll see a little bomb icon over your head, and that's where the hole in the center of the room comes into play. Um, when the bomb has like 2 seconds left, 3 seconds left, you want to go and jump into the hole. The bomb will go off and it'll shoot you back out of the hole. Just make sure your back is facing to where you want to land. So you want to, you're in the light group, you just make sure that you stay there on that side. Go over, and once you go down, it'll shoot you back out, and you'll be right back with your group. Keep that in mind. You bounce back where your back is facing. Um, so it's not a very difficult fight, but um, you know, people not standing where they're supposed to, and people jumping too early with their bomb or not jumping at all. It's really going to mess people up. Getting the wrong orbs, it's only going to take a couple people to really mess this fight up. So as I said, it's probably going to be a really nasty one in pugs. Fallen Avatar was a really awesome fight. He starts out chained up and ends up breaking free. Uh, he's pretty much stationary when the fight starts, and you have this Maiden of Valor that's out. She'll start doing a channeled ability that you'll have to switch off and DPS her down. So just make sure you do that. There is one attack he does, I don't remember the name of it. You'll see all these little like green swirls start coming from him, and DBM will tell you to to run away, little girl. So just make sure you run as far away from the boss as you can. The further away you are, the less damage you take from the ability. If you're right up on him, it's like 8 million damage or something. So you're not going to live through that. Not even most tanks are going to live through that, unless you're like super geared, or you have an immunity that you could use. It's an easy ability, just run away from it. Certain times he'll mark, pretty much seem to mark everyone in the raid for this bombardment type ability. So just make sure you keep moving and try not to run into other people's little green patches that's going to be coming on the ground. You should be fine. He throws out these spears at people, and you'll see them. They'll be like right where the boss is. Big. We had 3 spears on ours, but we had 30 people, so I don't know if it goes by how many people are there. Anyways, we had 3 spears, and they're pretty huge. They'll be like right up by the fallen avatar, and wherever they're facing, just make sure you're not in the path when that spear goes out. Um, it can You can get a little unlucky and have them like crisscross in like bad spots. Um, so be aware of that. Make sure you're not try not to stand in those. And if you do have to, if you think you're going to have to run into one, just make sure you have a personal to use for that, because they do a lot of damage. Um, Another thing, the maiden, once the fallen avatar gets to 100 energy, he goes into his second phase, and if the Maiden of Valor is still up, he will pretty much absorb her and heal for an amount equal to her health or something like that. Um, First time we did it, he pretty much healed to full because she wasn't dead. So I don't know. It's a health percentage type thing on her or what. But after that, after we wiped, we went back in and made sure that we killed her before that second phase started. Once the second phase starts is when he, gets his legs and you drop down. He destroys the whole room that you're in pretty much, and you drop down onto a fairly small platform, and there's green lava all around it. Um, and we pretty much had the tanks go over the tank that had the boss, pull him over um, as close to the edge of the platform, and the tank was pretty much just standing in the lava because the lava really wasn't doing that much damage. And when he does his ability that you have to run away from, you run away, and once he finishes his cast, it will destroy a pretty significant piece of the platform where the boss was standing. That's why you want to keep him on the edge. Make sure your tanks keep him on the edges, and use the platform um, very sparingly, and make sure that they take him to a good spot once um, the ability goes out. That's pretty much your DPS check right there, is to be able to kill him before he pretty much destroys that whole platform and everyone's standing in the lava, and it's just going to become unhealable pretty much. Um, but yeah, that was a pretty fun fight. After this, you um, get to be ported up to kill Jaden's like warship, his little spaceship, like the Centinex, and that's where you fight him. It's up on the spaceship. It's a very, very, very cool fight. A lot of abilities going on. It's like a 3-phase fight. I'm not going to break down all the abilities for it. Just go in there and learn it. They're not that difficult. Um, that's what we did. We just kept pulling it until everybody had the gist of it, and I think we had like maybe 5 attempts before we actually downed him. But this was a very, very fun fight. Um, the tanks did say that he was doing a shit ton of damage even on normal, and we had some pretty geared tanks, so just be aware of that. Um, don't ever stand in front of the boss. He does do an ability kind of like Gul'dan, where you don't want people standing in front of him, and you're getting this Fell Claw debuff that he does, because it does do a lot of damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The final cinematic was awesome. You guys could probably go check that out on YouTube or Wowhead if you want. I personally would just wait and see it for myself. Um, yeah, if you haven't been in here to do it yet, get in there and do it, because the raid is awesome. I want to give a shout out to Asmongold. I went with him yesterday in his viewer run when the servers first came up to do the first full clear. With him, I went with him on Nighthold 2 when it first came out, so really, really good. Really enjoy the viewer raids. I go as much as I can with them just because it's easy. They get good people. If you're a decent item level, you can pretty much go as long as you're not totally incompetent. Like I said, no one. I never even watched any videos. I know a lot of other people had never watched any videos of these fights or anything like that. We just went in there and learned it. But if after 2 or 3 attempts, if you're still messing up the standing and stuff, or not knowing where to go and all that, that's when the problems come. But it wasn't that bad. I think we only had to kick one person out, and that was on Maiden, because they just totally couldn't get the gist of that fight, which is really, really easy fight, I think, once you know what to do and where to go. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the raid. Uh, these last two raids that Blizzard's put out, I really, really enjoyed, and I hope they keep putting out content like this for PvE. Um, so yeah, just get in there and see it for yourself, guys. Um, I did get a couple pieces of gear. Um, I got the Cold Heart chest piece, new legendary that came out. Every 2 seconds, you gain a stack of Cold Heart, causing your next Chains of Ice. It deals 66,000 Shadow Frost damage, stacks up to 20 times. Um, at 20 times for me, um, it, the tooltip shows that it'll do 1.3 million damage with one Chains of Ice, which is pretty amazing. The new legendary, so I don't really know how good it is or how good it's going to be. Um, I'm hearing that this and the bracers are simming the highest with the new 4 set, if you have the new 4 set. Um, so I don't know. I don't have the 4 set yet. I have the new 2 set, but I'll just have to wait and see with the new once I get the 4 set if that's really true. Um, but I did use this this morning. I tried it on, and I got my 20 stacks. I was totally unbuffed. The only thing I had on was my Pillar of Frost and my Concordance proc. And my Chains of Ice with 20 stacks was critting for well over 2 million damage. So pretty good ability. Just have to. I just made a weak aura to show me the stacks a little better. I know when I was at 20 and then use it, and just an amazing little bursty damage, especially single target. This, like I said, this might end up being best in slot. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, I have 2 set. Got some 910 legs, well, Warforged, and the chest piece 905 Warforged. So my last video, I was talking about the 2 set and the 4 set. Well, they've totally changed since this came out. I didn't know that they had changed or were going to change when this came out. But the 2 set now, every 60 runic power spent while Pillar of Frost is active increases its duration by 1 second. Pretty nice. Not that big of a deal, really. I don't think. I haven't really noticed, getting that many seconds more of Pillar of Frost. And then the 4 set, every 3 runes spent increases the strength bonus of your next Pillar of Frost by 1%. So normally Pillar of Frost does 15% or 20%. So every 3 runes you spend, it'll gain another percent like the next time you would use it. Sounds like it's going to be really nice. Hoping I get another 2 pieces of the set once reset happens. If I do, I'll show you guys and let you know how good that is. Also got a ring off of Kill Jaden that rolled 920, which is really nice. Ton of crit, ton of haste, really, really good for Frost. But I am trying to get some more Unholy gear because Unholy is pulling ahead of Frost by a pretty significant margin. I'll probably start playing Unholy a little more. I still like Frost better than I do Unholy, but it looks like Unholy's pulling ahead enough to where I would want to maybe switch over and at least try it out and try to get into it a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I really didn't get much. I got a BOE off trash that I threw up on the auction house. It was a belt at 900 item levels. I hope I get some gold from that. And that was pretty much it. Like I said, definitely get in there and see the raid for yourself. And wait to see the cinematic for yourself if you can. I know a lot of people will go watch it, without going in there, but I think it's better to see it, the first time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. Said if I get some more gear next week or something, I'll make a video and show you guys increase in damage or something. I'm gonna probably use that Cold Heart chest piece in some dungeons and raids and see how it works and what my damage looks like. It starts pulling ahead of other legendaries that I think, I'll let you guys know and a video about it and show you the damage that it does. Anyways, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.